We had been toying around with the idea of mascots for a few years, but nobody could ever really, there were ideas thrown around, everybody had their own jobs to do, so it was kind of always a little bit on the back burner, but we finally just decided it was time when we were talking about growing soccer in Louisville and how we can add to engagement for our fans and help build our next generation of fans by being a strong voice for the youth and interacting with them that way. Well, budget is always a concern, so we had to kind of get a number together and make sure it aligned with what we could get approved with our finance committee. But that was a concern, and then really what was a concern all along up until the launch was, are the fans going to like it? And what are we, and launching 2 mascots for 2 different teams simultaneously was also always an area of concern. Could we get it done? Well, we started off with the decision to do 2 at the same time because, well, for one, you didn't want one team feeling like they were getting the short end of the stick. And for 2, it was just important to tell a story that they were connected in some way. And we thought that was the best way to go so that each team's fan base could get some benefit from having 2 mascots rather than just 1. And I think we were able to tell that story perfectly with the mascots that we decided to go with. We definitely wanted to tie into Louisville, most importantly so that it would connect with our fans and our fans would feel like they were connected with the mascot. So we wanted to make sure that part of the city's history was included and that it could somehow tie in to the sport of soccer that we love. Yeah, we went back and forth on the storytelling. Dream Farm came up with a really amazing backstory that was a little bit more mythical in nature. By the time we got to the launch, we decided that was a great story, but maybe a little more inclusive of what our fans needed to hear around the branding of it. So we kind of simplified it a little bit, and I think that's how we came up with the story that we have. They certainly kept us on track, which was really nice. It was very difficult facilitating this project with so many opinions. And so they would give me, Dream Farm was great about saying, hey, this needs to be done by this time to stay on your deadline. And then I would go work with everybody behind the scenes to try to get feedback collectively that was an easy way to submit to them. And then they would come around in a very timely fashion with the next round of edits and the next round of creative to work with. And we absolutely got the project done on time because of that. Definitely, I can't imagine working with another company. It changed a lot. We had several different opinions of what people thought that the mascot should be. We started off with river creatures, and then we decided as soon as we looked at them that was not right. And so it evolved slowly. A few early concepts kind of carried forward, but that was definitely the long process, and it certainly, from where we started to where we ended, was a complete evolution of ideas after we saw creative after creative and kind of picking out what worked and what didn't. And then Dream Farm did a great job of collecting all of that and then landing on our final concepts. Yes, when we decided to tie into the Muhammad Ali theme, and then when we decided to name them Float and Sting, that all is where it really came together, and we thought, okay, we don't need to talk about these other ideas anymore. We can absolutely zero in on the Muhammad Ali tie-in, the butterfly and the bee, and those ideas collectively came from different team members, and then they all worked together beautifully. For Sting, it was a little bit easier because I think everybody just likes Sting from the beginning. So that was really great. With Float, and Float representing the women's team, we wanted to make sure that we were cautious. We wanted to make sure she wasn't too girly, too feminine. We wanted her to have grit to symbolize how our team plays and how our players are. So that took a long time. There was a lot of conversation around what color she should be, and all of that. But then it finally came together, and we're really happy with the result. So Sting was a little bit was, like I said, like an instant positive reaction. And then at one point when we saw Float, and she was kind of a mix between, we gave her a little bit of an athletic build. We made her not look too much like a superhero. And then there was one version of her and we're like, oh yeah, we're getting so close, that's it. We just need to fine tune the details. So the launch, we decided to put together, so the launch was sort of twofold. We did an in-person event with our season ticket members and some other invited guests. It was a little bit more private that we held at the Muhammad Ali Center to tie into the theme. We had public figures there and everything else. So we had that layer of it, and then we had the digital press release that went out that included content that our media team shot, and we were able to send that out to the people who weren't at the event. And it was great. I mean, I know our staff was giving each other high fives throughout the event because it was a lot to put on and it was a culmination of a lot of things. And then that mixed with the feedback that we got from the public when we went public and digital, it was all wonderful because it was 99.999% positive, which is way better than I could have even dreamed. So just seeing all of that as part of the launch was really, really great after a lot of hard work went into not only the event, but the development of these mascots over the year. We loved seeing how the fans reacted the first time that they saw Float and Sting and how they continue to react when they see Float and Sting. We kind of, at the launch event, we opened the doors and they walked in and we had all of the kids laid around and they were all cheering and clapping. The adults were cheering and clapping. My cousin was crying. I don't know why, because she was happy for me and for this process, and she had her son there. And then at the first game, to see the fans line up to meet Float and Sting at the meet and greet and photo opportunity, that was so cool. And then now that they've been released for a while, they have gone out to several public events, and they are stars at them. They have run in races, mascot races. They have participated in dance events, and they've been able to touch different members of our community and different nonprofits that we're related with, which really helps fulfill our mission, which is why we brought the mascots on, was for that community involvement, community engagement, and it's really been wonderful to see the fans' reactions. The most gratifying part of all of this, honestly, has been the fans' reactions. To see how we have been able to take the mascots out into the community and interact with different groups, different segments of the public, really just makes us very happy in the success of everything. I think that the outcome that Dream Farm gave us absolutely aligns with the vision that we had, and it really wasn't real until the costumes arrived and we saw them in person. I traveled to London to see them getting made, which was a really great experience. And then they sent photos and I'd seen things back and forth, and I thought, oh man, I'm not sure that looks right. I really, really love Sting, and Sting doesn't look as at how I envisioned him, but it's like when we got them all here and we got them in our mascot performers, all of that went away because everything was perfect. Float and Sting are absolutely part of our brand ecosystem now. Not only are they a tool for helping us promote our games and promoting in-game activities, but you can also purchase them on merchandise in our team stores. So then you get the added experience of seeing fans out and wearing things with Float and Sting on them, along with our team logos, which expands our brand identity into the community. And then one of our goals for this year was getting more fans in the stands, engaging with the community, providing excellent customer service, and Float and Sting absolutely help us attain those goals. What's next for Float and Sting? I mean, they're going to be around for a long time. Game day by game day and community event by community event, they're slowly growing their own fan base, so the sky is really the limit. What attracted us to Dream Farm in the beginning was the portfolio that they had between different very high-end clients, a very wide range of clients, and the information that they sent us along the way really helped solidify that they were going to be the right partner for us. And then when we started to work on the creative process, they sent us a questionnaire to get everything kicked off so they could start doing research behind the scenes and help kind of mold and shape some concepts for us to think about, in addition to the feedback that we gave them. And then they provided timelines. They provided creative along the way that we gave feedback on. So everything was very organized, and we had sometimes weekly calls, sometimes bi-weekly calls, just to make sure everything was moving along. And then once the project was complete, we got a mascot book that we will use in perpetuity as a tool for going forward. And then they also introduced us to Rainbow Productions, who created the costumes, and they have exceeded our expectations as well. So overall, it was a wonderful partnership.